This isn't mental, it's spiritual. This isn't random, it's coordinated. And if you felt like hell has been hunting you since birth, it's because heaven marked you before you ever took your first breath. They don't come for the ordinary, they come for the threat. And if demons have surrounded your sleep, twisted your relationships, and sabotaged your peace, it's not because you're weak. It's because you carry something they fear. You are not under attack because you're broken. You're under attack because you're becoming. Some of you have asked in silence, why is it always me? Why the mental torment? Why the delay? Why the loneliness that feels like a spiritual exile? But here's what's been buried under years of confusion. You were never just suffering. You were being tested for a scroll. And the warfare wasn't proof of abandonment. It was evidence of inheritance. Buried or planted. Hidden or protected. These are not just questions. They're checkpoints on the journey of the chosen. And right now, in this moment, you're not watching this by accident. This is a divine unsealing, a heavenly interruption, a summons to remember what hell has been trying to make you forget. In the book of Job, Satan didn't randomly choose his target. He asked for the one who was blameless, the one heaven trusted with a trial. Have you considered my servant Job? That wasn't just a question, it was a signal that even in the courtrooms of heaven, your name can echo as a threat to darkness. And if you're here now, listening, feeling that undeniable tension between what you've endured and who you know you were born to become, then welcome to the Chosen One's sanctuary. Not just a channel, a sacred remnant gathering place, a vault of scrolls waiting to be opened. What we're about to reveal may explain every strange attack you've faced, every betrayal, every tormenting pattern, and every night you cried out, "This doesn't make sense," but it does. In the spirit realm, it all makes sense. So stay with this message until the very end, because what's about to be unveiled might not just explain your past, it might awaken your assignment, and expose why darkness worked overtime to stop you from ever seeing it. The scroll is open now. Let's begin. Marked by light, hunted by darkness. You didn't choose this battle. It was inherited the moment your soul was inscribed with purpose. Before anyone knew your name on earth, it echoed in the spirit realm. Demons don't chase noise, they chase names carved in divine fire. And when your life began to disrupt darkness without trying, the war began before your voice ever learned to pray. To be chosen isn't to be celebrated first, it is to be targeted. The enemy doesn't waste weapons on the lukewarm or directionless. But you carry blueprints that would tear down systems, restore bloodlines, awaken generations. So he attacked early. He tried to distort your reflection before you ever saw it clearly. The enemy has studied your pattern. He saw your potential in secret. Like Pharaoh ordering the death of Hebrew boys, the demonic realm always senses the arrival of a deliverer. You were not overlooked. You were identified. You were not forgotten. You were hunted, and still, you survived what should have silenced you. The storm didn't drown you. It baptized you. The demon of isolation. When heaven feels silent, it begins quietly. Friends grow distant. Family stops understanding. Your prayers return with no reply, and the silence becomes unbearable. Not because no one's speaking, but because heaven feels like it's hiding. But silence is not absence. It is divine surveillance. In the wilderness, Jesus heard nothing from the Father, only the hiss of the tempter. 40 days of silence. 40 nights of hunger. Yet this was not abandonment. It was heaven's proving ground. If Jesus faced it, so will those marked by the same Spirit. Isolation is not punishment. It is prelude. The enemy distorts the stillness, hoping you'll mistake solitude for shame, that you'll retreat into numbness when you were meant to anchor into identity. Elijah sat under the broom tree, begging to die, thinking he was alone. But heaven whispered through wind, fire, and quake, You are not the only one. The silence was not a sentence, it was a setup. The wilderness wasn't a detour, it was a doorway. The room you're in now may be quiet, but heaven is listening. Fiery trials, the demon that works through people. Not every demon wears horns. Some wear smiles. Some sit at your table. Some once held your hand and swore they'd never leave. There is a demon that doesn't come through nightmares, but through betrayal. It wraps itself in the language of love and strikes where you were most open. Joseph wasn't attacked by strangers, he was sold by brothers. David wasn't hunted by enemies, he was pursued by the king he served. This kind of warfare isn't about your body, it's about your trust. Because if the enemy can fracture your faith in people, he hopes you'll soon distrust God. But pain is a prophet in disguise. Every betrayal did more than hurt, it refined. Every loss did more than break, it aligned. Because what walked away from you was never meant to carry what God placed inside you. You weren't rejected, you were redirected. You weren't discarded, you were delivered. And in the fire, your real name began to emerge. Spiritual consequences. When you don't recognize the war, there is no neutral ground in spiritual warfare. To ignore the war is to surrender without knowing. Some chosen ones suffer longer because they don't know they're under siege. They call it bad luck, emotional chaos, or anxiety, never realizing it's a coordinated spiritual ambush. When Saul ignored the voice of God, he didn't just lose a throne, he lost divine alignment. When Jonah fled his assignment, he didn't just delay destiny, he endangered everything around him. To abort your calling is not just to pause your life, it is to disrupt heaven's rhythm on earth. Every delayed yes echoes through bloodlines. Every ignored sign invites a counterfeit season, but even now, mercy still speaks. God doesn't expose to shame, He exposes to awaken. This is not punishment, it is an alarm. The attack didn't come to destroy you, it came to reveal what you've been carrying blind. The war is real, but so is your authority. Your authority scares them more than you know when you wake up to who you are. Demons remember who they are not. You've been walking with weapons you didn't know how to use, but even unused authority still radiates. That's why the attacks came before the awareness. Hell hoped you'd die before you discovered your power. Jesus said, "I have given you authority over all the power of the enemy." Not later, not when you feel worthy. Now. That's why the atmosphere shifts when you walk in the room. Why people feel exposed in your presence. Why systems try to reject you before you speak. You don't just carry light, you carry government. And once you step into that, torment must break. Patterns must end. Curses must reverse. They tried to contain you before you spoke, because once you declare who you are, you become unstoppable. Even your silence carries fire. You're not alone. Heaven has issued a mandate. You were never meant to carry this scroll alone. What you thought was isolation was initiation. What you called exile was really enlistment. There is a remnant, scattered across the nations, awakening to the same fire, the same warfare, the same whisper from heaven. Now is the time. You were hidden, not to be forgotten, but to be released together, like Gideon's army, like the upper room, like Ezekiel's bones. The breath of God is stirring the scattered, the silence is breaking, and the mandate is clear. You will rise, not for self, but for nations, for generations, for every name whose freedom is tied to your obedience. This isn't just about survival anymore, it's about release. You are no longer under attack, you are under assignment. The scroll is open, and the echo begins. You weren't under attack because you were lost. You were under attack because you were located. Heaven knew where to find you, and so did the darkness. The enemy saw what you didn't. He saw the authority beneath the ashes, the scroll sealed in silence, the crown hidden in your crushing. But now, you see it too. You've walked through fire that should have left you ashes. You've survived betrayals that should have ended your faith. You've stood in silence so deafening, even angels held their breath. Yet still, you rose, and this is the final truth. You were not delayed. You were disguised, hidden for a holy hour. What was sent to break you was used to build you. What was meant to bind you now bears witness to your breaking free. You are not who you were. You are who He always knew you were becoming. You are a scroll in motion, a threat to darkness, a vessel of divine fire. You have been marked. You have been forged. And now, you are being sent. So if this word ignited something deep within you, if it felt like heaven whispered through this screen, comment 777 below. Let the unseen realm take notice that you heard. Then share your voice. What sign confirmed the war you've been in? What part awakened your remembrance? Subscribe to Chosen One Sanctuary, not just to receive more words, but to remain connected to a global remnant rising. There are others like you, scattered, refined, sent. You are not alone. You are the next echo.